Everybody, welcome to this week's Aggressive Progressive. Yes, we are very aggressive today. I'm feeling it. I'm here with my Korean co-host, Steve O, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, right? You're a Korean?
By heritage, yes, I am.
Yeah.
By citizenship, I am US.
Oh, okay. Also with us is the miserable liberal, the Mexican on the panel.
Yes,
it's Steph Zamorano.
Similarly to Steve, I am culturally Mexican, but US, is that how you put it?
No, I am, I'm culturally American as well. I'm just heritage-wise from Korea. Big difference.
Heritage.
Yeah. Because I don't identify with the Korean culture. This is why I'm very sympathetic to Mexicans who are being deported, or any Latinos that are being deported. If they deported me to Korea, I'd be a mess. I'd be so sad. I don't even anyone. I speak like a 7-year-old. My Korean.
Yeah.
And I don't know their culture. I mean, I like Korean food, but I don't know the music, the TV shows. I would feel so lost if I were sent to Korea. I mean, it would be no better than sending me to, like, I don't know, like Belgium or Portugal. Like it's just not my culture.
So you're Korean. I'm Irish. A lot of people think I'm a secret Jew.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. I might be a secret. I always wanted to be a secret Jew. Yeah. So I think the only food I favor less than Korean food has to be Irish food.
What's wrong with Korean food? Korean food's great.
I tried it several times. It just doesn't do it.
What?
Wrong.
You haven't gone to the right places, maybe.
Well, I did go to a great Korean barbecue. You did take me to that Korean barbecue.
You love that place.
That place is off the hook.
Yeah.
Whew, that was the best. Yeah, that was a whole nother level. You're right. Okay, let's get to the show. I could talk about food all day long. We should do a food show.
An aggressive food show.
Aggressive food show.
Yes. Yeah.
That's right. You call that fuck? You call that hummus? The fucking beans have turned. That's right. They fermented.
Speaking of Koreans, what do you got for us?
Here's what happened with Trump in North Korea. Here's a little news report for you. Ready?
After a new assessment from US intelligence suggests North Korea may now be capable of making long-range nuclear weapons.
It's a key component to Kim Jong-un's path to wielding a nuclear arsenal. Here's a president during an unrelated meeting at his golf resort in New Jersey.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. He has been very threatening beyond a normal statement. And as I said, they will be met with fire, fury, and frankly power, the likes of which this world has never seen before.
Jimmy, don't threaten me. If you threaten me, I will kick your ass.
It's like watching the Greater Orange County Dodge salesman. It's like
fire and fury, and frankly, power.
Yeah, and quite frankly, power. Like the world has never. It's like Kel Worthington is trying to sell me a war right now.
No, I think he took that right from the script that he was given when he used to do work for the WWE.
Yes.
He would go in there and they would trash talk one another. I can't believe
this is like
him. President.
This is just like him doing wrestling. He's doing it. Yeah. So that's what he's over the top incendiary language that doesn't help anybody or anything. It just makes things worse, but it makes him feel puffed up in the moment. That's Donald Trump. Okay, that's no surprise.
Yeah, and he's an idiot, and the generals are upset. Everyone's upset because they think he's gonna make the North Koreans unstable and inflame the situation and make things worse and start a war. And all of that's possibly true.
Possibly true.
He's definitely a volatile and unpredictable figure in all of this. But I would argue, and many would argue, that Trump didn't create this problem. The problem with North Korea has been around for a long time. And some of our foreign policy actions over the last 10 years or so, 15 years, have made North Korea,
so let's get into that in just 1 second.
I want to add one more thing.
Go ahead.
Just the idea that our president is speaking this way, and isn't today the anniversary of the atomic bomb being dropped on Nagasaki? So that's disturbing. 72 years ago, when we dropped the worst bomb. Has any other country dropped these bombs before? No. Any other country? The worst fury ever, any other country. And here we have 72 years later, a president seeming pretty supportive, and Congress definitely supportive of military actions.
The point that needs to be made about the nuclear bomb is that the establishment narrative is that we had to do that to save lives, otherwise an invasion of Japan would have been, the war was already won. And they were looking for a way to surrender in Japan. And MacArthur said we didn't need to drop that, so we didn't need to drop those bombs. And we targeted civilians. So Adam, if that's, you tell me what's the definition of a war crime, right? That's, so we can debate that, but there's definitely a debate to be had about whether we should have dropped those bombs or not. There's definitely a debate to be had, but that's a different story. But what has happened now? Trump saying all this over the top, and because I remember when it was Trump was in, people were worried about him becoming president. They're saying this guy's unhinged. He could nuke people. But ever since he's become president, the lefty media has been egging him on to become more bombastic, literally to drop more bombs. It wasn't until Trump bombed Syria that MSNBC and CNN called him presidential. Fareed Zakaria said he became president. Remember when he said that? Saying Brian Williams almost nutted in his pants. He said, oh, we're guided by the beauty of their missiles. Remember that? So that's what the lefty media, and they've been pounding the war with Russia ever since the election. And that's not hyperbole, I'm not overstating that. They've been referring to the alleged Russian hacking of a DNC, a private company's server. They've been referring to that with terms of war. This is cyber war. This is war, we need to retaliate. They've been saying all that stuff. Here's the producer for The Last Word, Kyle Griffin, producer, I'm sure he's a nice person. Talk about beating the drums for war. This is before Trump said that stuff. This was before Trump came out and said fury and fire like they've never seen before. Trump was tweeting about the New York Times and media and Hillary Clinton. He was attacking them and tweeting. And here is an MSNBC producer upset that his hair isn't on fire over the nuclear threat from Korea. So the news person from MSNBC wants the president to be more upset and to be talking about the nuclear threat from Korea. Well, guess what? You got your fucking wish. That was earlier, and then just a few hours later, Trump comes out with his crazy over the top. There's flies in here. Crazy over the top, bombastic. So are you happy now? Are you happy now? And now everybody comes out and gets upset about how over the top Trump's warmongering is. Well, here's what Brian Williams said, because it makes me think when I see stuff like this, it's like, is it MSNBC's job? Are they actually trying to scare the shit out of us? Because we all know fear drives ratings. Why do they like war? War drives ratings. And I thought, when I saw this tweet, Steve, I thought to myself, are they actually trying to scare us? And then I saw this.
Our job tonight actually is to scare people to death on this subject.
Oh, it turns out it is their job to scare people to death on that. That is what they're doing. Brian Williams is such an empty shell. He doesn't even know he's not supposed to fucking admit that. He doesn't even know that's stupid to do. Your job is to scare us to death over North Korea? Really? So we're still in Afghanistan, Brian. Iraq didn't shut you up. Libya didn't shut you up. We ran out of bombs in Syria, didn't shut you up. You nutted in your pants over Trump bombing Syria. Nothing shuts you up. So Steve, you have a bigger point to make about this Korea story.
Yes, so the Korea story is alarming for many reasons. We don't want North Korea to have nuclear weapons, but we've created an incentive structure for North Korea to put aside everything else and get those nuclear weapons, because that's the only leverage they can possibly have against the United States. And the message was sent to the world. If you don't have nuclear weapons, if you give up your nuclear weapons program, then we'll probably just invade you, because we can.
Yes.
And then we'll turn on you. So
you think we would have invaded Iraq if Saddam had a nuclear weapon?
No, we invaded because he didn't have it.
That's right. What about Libya?
Because Gaddafi voluntarily gave them up. He gave up his chemical weapons program and his nuclear program in 2003. And George Bush, well, let's go to the article. It's a great article in the Intercept about all of this and how we have created this weird, perverted incentive structure for the world to pursue nuclear warheads as fast as possible, because that's the only leverage they have against us. And bad things happen when they give it up.
It says Trump intel chief, North Korea learned from Libya war to never give up nukes. In celebrating Libya's decision, President George W. Bush declared that the rest of the world should take away the message that, quote, leaders who abandon the pursuit of chemical, biological, and nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them will find an open path to better relations with the United States and other free nations.
Yeah, so that was a promise made to Gaddafi.
Yes.
And Gaddafi gave them up, and it was celebrated as a big deal. And George Bush put the world on notice and said, everyone should do this because it would lead to a better situation for you and for your country. And then when there was an uprising against Gaddafi, we supported the rebels and allowed Gaddafi to be captured by the rebels, where they sodomized him with a bayonet and then killed him. And that story got out. Like, everyone knows about that. So what's the lesson from other strong, for other strong men across the world? Don't give up your nukes, because the US will then turn on you and allow you to be sodomized with a bayonet by your enemies from within. So, the Trump situation right now obviously isn't helpful. He's a bad actor, a volatile guy, unpredictable, and he could easily launch the nuclear weapons and all of that. But there are a lot of forces at play here. So the forces are our long-term foreign policy. The objective isn't really to achieve peace.
No.
You know that, right?
Yes.
The objective of our foreign policy is to maintain a state of war that delivers profits to certain very moneyed interests. So we don't want to have too much war, because then the people might be upset. But sustainable war and sustainable, like sufficient peace, so that people don't go crazy, uprising against the system that is. So it's very frustrating to me that we have the MSN, mainstream media, that, like you said, foams at the mouth and fan the flames of war every single opportunity. So then we get this idiot in office, and of course, he's gonna act accordingly, and he's gonna be as over the top and as bombastic as everyone else. Whereas, let's say Hillary, we measured in her tone, the message is the same. We like war. We're gonna be. What did she say? She said that she'll be more muscular. She'll have a more muscular foreign strategy than Barack Obama. Well, that's her much more dignified way of saying we're gonna kick some ass all over the world.
Fire and fury.
Yeah, and fire and fury. And of course, Trump is an idiot, so he just shouts it out, fire and fury. So that's the situation that we have. And again, when I hear people talk about terrorism, I don't want to hear about terrorism unless you're going to start with, we're going to stop funding the terrorists through our banks. We're going to have some real regulations on what the banks can and cannot do. And we're going to stop selling arms to the terrorists, okay, into the regions where the terrorism is running rampant. So unless you're willing to do those two things, I don't even want to hear about your purported desire to fight terrorism. And then on the situation with North Korea and war in general, I don't want to hear that you care about peace unless you stop fanning the flames of war, and that's what we do. I mean, like you said, Brian Williams, Fareed Zakaria, like these so-called dignified men with gravitas, going crazy over the prospect of more war.
We got to take a break right now. This is the free part of the show. The first 15 minutes are free. If you want to see the rest of the show, become a member. It's only $10. You go to tytnetwork.com/join. tytnetwork.com/join. If you're already a member, go to tytnetwork.com/memberslive. We'll be right back in a couple of minutes with actually more on this Korea story and a lot more today.